Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Fanwood Mayor and Council. Tonight I again am not Mayor Colleen Marr. I am Jack Molinar, the Council President, and I'll be running the meeting this evening since our Mayor is busy this evening and couldn't make it, and she sends her apologies. So with that, I will begin with our regular open public meeting statement. I hereby announce and request that such be included in the minutes of this meeting. That notice of the time, place, and date of the meeting has been prominently posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, mailed to the Times, the Star Ledger, Carrier News, and the Alternate Press by January 10th, 2018, and filed with the Borough Clerk and mailed to any person requesting the same in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. With that, we will now have the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as we have a moment of silence. Thank you. We have 3 minutes to be approved. They are from roll call, sorry.
It's okay.
Roll call, please.
Anthony Carter.
Present.
Russell Yugo.
Present.
Tom Krantz.
Here.
Erin Bonker.
Here.
Catherine Mitchell.
Here.
Jack Molinar.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Okay, with that, we have 3 minutes to be approved. They are from January 1st, January 16th, and February 5th. I was not here on February 5th, so I can't vote on that, but otherwise I'll accept a... Please note that I will not be approving. Is anyone else not at any of these meetings? Nope. So when I say yay, I'm not saying yay to that.
Okay.
I'll accept a motion for all 3 meetings.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? No? Okay. In front of you are a number of announcements and appointments. We have an appointment of Damian Borough to Recreation, Scott Claire and Elise Blasi, Planning Board, Kevin Boris and Michelle Moore, Historic Preservation, Adam Coyce, Harry McNally, Cheryl Gain, myself as the representative from the Planning Board, and for Environmental Commission, Teresa Keeler. Is there any vote we need to do on that?
I'm just going to do somebody should make a vote and second it.
Okay, I need, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Or your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? No?
Aye.
Okay, so they're all approved. Presentations. I'd like to call up David Trump from the Alliance Club, please. Former Councilman David Trump, come on down. Always welcome here at Borough Hall.
Thank you. Good to be back.
What did you do to your hand?
I'm an amateur bowler.
Very amateur, or?
Yep. No, you know what, Kathy, I just had a little mishap with the curb and sidewalk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
But
okay.
you know the bowling story is much better.
Yeah.
I got an ice fishing story. That's really good. Sorry.
A whole lot of
Hi,
ice, so.
I'm David Trump, the Christmas tree chairman for the Fanwood Lions Club, and I'm a resident. To
And
the
former councilman.
former council person, long time ago. Saying governing body, I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank the Fanwood Volunteer Fire Company as our partner in the annual Christmas tree sale at LeGrand Park. May we also use this time to thank the community and merchants at large, the governing body and administration, the Fanwood Public Works, the Fanwood Police Department, Fanwood Recreation Commission, and Tom Krantz for his Facebook expertise.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you again for this time, and don't forget to buy a tree early this year. 640 trees go quick.
Is that how many trees you did this year?
Yes.
Is that more than, or just the same?
It's been the same for 50 years.
Are they going faster, or?
Yeah, they've been going faster. This year was our first time that we switched from a 7-day schedule to a 4-day schedule,
Oh, wow.
over the weekends.
Mhm.
And we had good success for that.
Great.
So at this time, I would like to invite Rick and Dave.
All right.
I would like to present to the Fanwood Fire Company their share of the proceeds, which is $7,000. You're welcome. And thank you again, and we'll let you go now.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good work.
Lions Club, thanks a lot. Dave, thanks a lot. We appreciate all the work you do and all the things you've done for Fanwood over the years. You're truly a great Fanwood resident. I appreciate it. And we're like 10% towards a new pumper, I guess, with 7,000, or somewhere near that. Is that right? 7,000 is 10% towards another new fire equipment? Yeah? Somewhere close around there? Okay. Every little bit helps, and we do appreciate it, and we thank the Lions Club, and it's a great Fanwood tradition of having those trees being sold every year. So thanks again, Lions Club. At this point, Tom, I believe you're helping us out with Volunteer of the Month.
Absolutely.
Wesley Lewis, come on down. You are our Volunteer of the Month, and we're going to honor you right now. Councilman Krantz,
Well,
thanks a
look at
lot.
the rest of the Lewises up here. Come on, you guys. Let's make it a family affair. Hey, Wes, how are you? Thanks for coming. As I said before, 1 Lewis, 3 Louis. This month we are honoring as our Volunteer of the Month. You okay there, Lauren? It's always great to not only recognize one of our citizens for Volunteer or Citizen of the Month, it's doubly great when it's a young person who is following in the footsteps of his dad and his family. Wesley Lewis here, resident of Fanwood, 12 years old, Park Middle School, yes. He's getting bar mitzvah coming up in September, and for his mitzvah project, he supported in some very real ways the Go Red for Women awareness campaign for women's heart health. In addition to being kind of an honorary rescue squad member, he and his sergeant on the rescue squad, and Wesley spends an awful lot of time in our ambulances. I think he knows them better than some of our actual members, including me. But he spent time at the Big Go Red event that we sponsored along with the Chelsea a couple of Fridays ago about spreading the word about women's heart health in an effort to prevent heart attack, which is heart disease rather, which is the #1 killer of women, just like it is men. So Wesley had a cool project, and I'm going to let him tell you about it a little bit. Just talk right into that thing.
Well, for my mitzvah project, I decided to focus on the Go Red event because I had done a speech the year before, and I felt like it was something I could do. So I decided to spread the word to my school. I went on the announcements, and I decided to share my cause. I spread some facts about heart attacks and how bad and how severe they are, and based on my studies, I had realized that heart attacks are severe, and I could change the world if I could spread the word to people.
Beautiful. And did you fundraise also? I heard that you raised a little bit of
yes.
money. Huh? How much did you raise?
$350.
And where did that? And you raised that for who? The Go Red campaign?
The American Heart Association.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's great. That was a great event, and I can't tell you how proud we are. And as a token of our appreciation, I think your dad already has one of these. He does.
Yeah.
Ian is a return. Ian has been to our podium once before. He was we honored Ian and proclaimed an Ian Lewis Day several years ago, not only for his service to the rescue squad, because he actually helped save a lady's life 30,000 feet in the air in a commercial airliner. And we thought that was worth bringing him here, so he's been here before. But on behalf of the mayor of Fanwood and the Fanwood Council, I want to present you with This token of our esteem and our appreciation to you, this is a print of the Fanwood Historic Train Station, and this is what we give to people who distinguish themselves in our town, so congratulations. We all good? All right, thank you guys very much. Thanks for coming, and congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Councilman. Thanks again, Wesley, for all you do for Fanwood. Another great Fanwood resident. You're keeping us all, keeping that bar high for us to do more. And thank you very much, and keep working hard. Next on our agenda is a proclamation for Black History Month. And I would like to ask Councilman Carter to read that for us.
Borough of Fanwood Proclamation. Black History Month 2018. Whereas, in 1926, African-American scholar Carter Godwin Woodson organized the first Negro History Week to focus the attention on previously neglected aspects of the Black experience in the United States. It was renamed Black History Week in 1972. And the observance was extended to become Black History Month in 1976. A son of slaves, he encouraged Black studies to honor people and their achievements. And whereas, the theme for Black History Month in 2018 is African Americans in Time of War, honoring those brave men and women who served their country in the armed forces, where 1 million served as draftees or volunteers in every branch of service in World War II, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Fanwood recognize the extensive civil, social, and religious contributions made by Black Americans and how these contributions have inspired the residents of this municipality. And whereas the mayor and council also recognize the vital importance of affording all residents, especially young persons, the opportunity to study and understand Black history, both locally and nationally, for the purpose of inspiring and ensuring that our citizens are fully familiar with the entire history of the human experience. Now, therefore, I, Colleen Marr, as it's written, but I, Councilman Carter, of the Borough of Fanwood, with the full support of the council and the mayor, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2018 Black History Month in the Borough of Fanwood for the purpose of encouraging the residents of this community to become more knowledgeable about the many historical important contributions made by Black Americans. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Excuse me, we have somebody here, this,
Oh.
we'll take the
Oh,
rest.
absolutely. Come, Anthony.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. To Mayor Marr in her absence, to this esteemed body. My name is Tashira Wheeler, and I am the advisor of the Black Student Union at Scotch Plains Fanwood High School.
Thank you.
And I just
Welcome.
really want to thank you all so much for always recognizing the importance of this month, and also recognizing our students. Because they do work very hard. They are always trying to promote cultural diversity through our STEP team, through our weekly meetings, through our activities and our events. And it's just a pleasure to actually be recognized for that and I'm standing here in their absence. A lot of them do double and triple duty between work and sports and different things. But I did want to take the time to come and accept the proclamation, but also to thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for recognizing the importance of this month. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you for coming here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here, and I know how many things that they're doing all the time, and I don't know how they find the time for any of that. Plus do well at school, so I know I had my own problems, so thank you. Okay, with that, our next resolution, Councilwoman McElroy Barker.
Let it
please.
go, Jack. Okay.
Gotcha.
Whereas in the history of America, a great leader rarely stood beside us who had such strong convictions and great dreams for the future welfare of his people as did Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas this determined man struggled and died for the cause of justice and freedom, and whereas Dr. Martin Luther King, when awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in December of 1964 because of his nonviolent fight against racial injustice, stated, "This award is a profound recognition that nonviolence is the answer to the crucial political and moral questions of our time, the need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression." And whereas Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., a great civil rights leader, is honored and remembered each year throughout the nation through prayer and civil services on Martin Luther King Day. Now therefore be it resolved, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Fanwood hereby urge the residents of Fanwood to recognize the efforts of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. on this special day, to incorporate the beliefs and dreams of this great man, that diversity needs to be embraced, and to reflect on his determination, spirit, and resolve, through which he led one of the greatest movements for equality and freedom in history.
Thank you. I don't know, for one, this year, I mean, everything that's been going on this year, I'm thinking a lot more about MLK and all the things he said and what he's fought, and I understand a lot more in 2018 than I've had in 2017 and 2018 than I have in previous years, so thank you. Our next resolution is from Councilwoman Mitchell for Go Red for Women Month.
Thank you very much. This is Go Red for Women, February 2nd, 2018. Whereas cardiovascular disease, which includes stroke, is the #1 killer of women, claiming the lives of one woman every 80 seconds. And whereas together we can change that by inspiring one another to change lifestyles by managing weight, changing diets, increasing exercise, getting more sleep, to take control of your life and reduce the risk of heart disease by as much as 80%. And whereas on February 2nd, 2018, women gathered in support of Go Red for Women, a program sponsored by the American Heart Association at the Chelsea of Fanwood, organized by Melissa Podolsky, a Fanwood resident, businesswoman, and EMT, and to participate in a program offering medical information, CPR training, first aid, healthy food, and blood pressure testing to educate and increase awareness of the signs of heart disease and offer suggestions that will allow women to take control of their heart health. And now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council recognize the efforts of Melissa Podolsky, the American Heart Association, and the Chelsea at Fanwood in promoting awareness of this dreaded disease. Fully support this program and encourage all women to recognize the symptoms of heart disease, take control of healthy lifestyles, and invest in their hearts. Be it further resolved that this message be spread across the minutes of this meeting so that all who follow will know that extraordinary woman Melissa Podolsky, who is committed to educating women on the signs of heart disease and how to prevent it with knowledge and action. And of course this goes along with the young man in our audience who we just honored for his work for making heart disease his focus. So we congratulate Melissa, and we also congratulate our young man today.
Should we give him the resolution?
And would you
Yes.
like the resolution?
Wesley, come on up. Thanks again, Mr. Lewis. We appreciate your effort.
There you are.
The lady from Mars.
And thank you.
What?
Come on up and accept the Martin Luther King Proclamation.
Yes, thank you.
Giving stuff out tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again for coming out tonight. Okay, next on our agenda is presentation of communications and referral. I believe everything in there is, we have one resolution on our agenda, and we have a note and file. Anything else on that? No? Okay, so moving on to standing committee reports. Councilman France for Administration and Finance.
Thanks, Council President. I have to start with the tax collector's report for January. In January, we collected $4,478,667.78, which, because it's January, is also our year-to-date collection so far. I guess I need a motion to accept the tax collector's report.
Is it a roll call or is it just a?
voice.
Okay.
No, you move it.
You can move it.
Yes.
So I'm moving it.
Kathy has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? No?
I'll get this
Okay,
eventually.
that's approved.
Voice vote
All
to
right.
accept money.
All right, very good. So I have just a couple of things I want to talk about very broadly. The Administration and Finance Committee of Council has a really packed agenda going into the coming year. We're approaching budget time, which is our favorite time of the year, because pretty much every single thing we do up here, one way or the other, has to do with, do we need it? How much is it? And who's going to pay for it? That's pretty much what it comes down to for everything we do. This coming year, we're faced with a shortfall in revenues. We're looking at ways to cut and to make more revenues. And that's never fun, and it's not going to be easy. And I just kind of want to warn everybody up front that we're going to be talking about some difficult things coming up in the months ahead. We've just begun these talks, but we will have at least one, maybe more public budget meetings for everybody to hear everything we're going to be talking about. So we're looking forward to that, and not necessarily in a good way. We one thing that is a good thing is that we have started the process of creating a municipal nonprofit. Under state law, we are allowed now to basically begin a 501(c) nonprofit organization that will take the place of, I shouldn't say take the place of, it'll collect the money that was collected and is being collected for things like the Fanwood Day Fund, the Fanwood 5K. We collect money, these groups collect these monies kind of individually and on an ad hoc basis for these events through the year. Under the law, we can create a nonprofit that will actually collect this money on their behalf. We have to name a couple of trustees to actually kind of administer that fund. But the reason this is a good thing is because in light of the fact that our new tax bill, our new tax law limits our state and local tax deductions to $10,000, municipalities across the nation and states across the nation are looking for ways to kind of mitigate that effect. Anybody who lives in Fanwood, I dare say, pays at least $10,000 in taxes, if not more. So this is something that's very real to everybody, probably everybody in New Jersey, since we pay the most taxes. So what this will allow us to do, it'll allow us, people or corporations, companies who want to donate to the Fanwood 5K, Fanwood Day, or other entities will be able to deduct that as a charitable contribution. We will also, that foundation, that nonprofit will also be able to apply for grants that the town cannot apply for as a nonprofit. And it puts us in position for the possibility that at some point the state of New Jersey and other states may actually pass a law that makes contributions to foundations like that creditable to your local property taxes. There is apparently a law in the legislature right now in the state senate that would do just that. You donate to a foundation like this, and in some way it becomes part credited towards your property tax levy. There's skepticism about whether that can actually happen. I think our own CFO is not 100% sure that it's legal under IRS law. And I see that Mr. Mnuchin in the Trump administration has already pretty much poo-pooed it. But this is something that's being talked about in legislatures across the country as a way of mitigating this effect on our local taxes here. So we'll keep you up to date on that. But for our part, we're at least in position to help our taxpayers in terms of donating to these local causes. And if it ever comes to pass that we can credit those towards our property taxes, we'll be in a position to do that. The last thing I wanted to talk about is our sewers. Sewers are like your roof. You know, when you buy it or you fix it, you don't like sit in front of it and admire it. You kind of take it for granted. We spent some money on a study of our sewers that we heard from here several months ago. And, you know, probably the one thing that everybody in this room and everybody in town thinks of least is the sewer system in our town. But if the sewer system goes south, then there's all kinds of trouble. It can be everything from a backup into your basement to a leakage out into the street to, a partial failure of the system. The report that we had showed that our sewer system, while it's not in collapse, it's at the point right now where we need to start doing things to shore it up and to maintain it. So under a state law that was passed 2 years ago or last year, towns like ours are allowed to actually either sell or lease our sewer systems to companies that can actually do that. Companies that have the manpower, the person power, and the expertise to maintain a sewer system. And it's our intention to do that. The Administration and Finance Committee has been talking about doing that. I think Councilman Hugh will jump in anytime if I get this wrong, but I think we're talking about a possible lease deal. It would be something that would have to be bidded out competitively like anything else, although we know that there is interest out there by at least one entity that we know of. And in preparation for that, the reason that's a good thing is because not only are the sewers going to be maintained, but we will make income from that, and we are in sorely need of revenue. And this is something that we would hope for starting maybe in the year 2019 and going forward. And here's the punchline, to prepare for that, we have to prepare for a potential lessor, a breakout of how much each one of our residents pays in their taxes to maintain our sewers. Everybody in Fanwood pays a portion of their taxes to maintain the sewers. We need to essentially break that out separately and call it either a sewer tax or whatever you want to call it, a sewer fee. But in some way, shape, or form, we have to break that out separately and find a way to bill our residents that either quarterly, monthly, or however else. Am I speaking truth here,
Yeah.
Councilman Hugel?
No, you're doing fine.
So nobody likes any new bill, nobody likes any new fee, including yours truly, but this is basically an incremental step that we're going to have to take to make our sewer system essentially saleable to an outside company. And the long-range goal for this is a revenue stream that's going to do us a lot of good, and we need a revenue stream. So again, we're in the process of just kind of starting that process right now, but that is going to happen. Am I leaving anything out about that, Councilman Hugo? That's pretty much the headline, and I think that's all I have to say for right now.
I just think that,
Yes.
we know that in certain parts of town, our sewers are very old. They're estimated to be like 100 years old.
Right.
And we've gotten our worth with it. And I think that if that sewer system collapses, which, time is not on our side with this issue, we will be in for a very large bill. And I think that's something that we are also trying to avoid. And let that be somebody else's responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilman. Is that
Thank
it?
you.
Can I just ask a question for clarification?
I hope
When
I know
you-
the answer. I'll try.
I think you do. When we've discussed this before, while we anticipate then residents will have to be billed for their sewer fee directly from the company that leases the sewers, it is then going to come out of their local taxes, right?
Correct, right.
Right.
So,
You're
right.
We're not sure it's equivalent, but
right.
it's money that will come out of local taxes and then get paid separately as a fee to the.
Correct, and we can only hope that it won't be more than what you normally pay in taxes, but that would be being able to look into a crystal
Right.
ball and predict that.
But so that residents aren't paying for it twice.
Correct,
is-
no.
yeah.
So we would break this, when it comes to the time for us to do this, we would break this out and you would see that part of your property tax bill go down a commensurate amount. And in the eventuality that we have a company that actually does take over our sewers, and then they decide to bill our residents, which they will, that will be less money that you'll have to pay in property taxes, as Councilwoman McElroy Barker pointed out. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Tom. Next on our committee reports is Councilman Carter for Public Safety.
Thank you. Thank you. The report is prepared by our Fanwood Police Department for the month of January 2018. And it reads as follows. Total calls for police assistance through our CAD system, 1,153. Total calls for police assistance through 911, 9. The number of motor vehicle stops for various reasons, 471. The total number of summonses issued, 458. The type of summonses were motor vehicle violation summonses, 74. Non-moving violations, 296. Parking summonses, 87. DWI, unfortunately, there was 1. The total adult arrest on warrants, 7. DWI, 1. Controlled dangerous substance, 1. Hindering apprehension, 1. And filing a false report, 1. Total juvenile arrests, 0. The total number of crimes reported, 19. Thefts and larceny, 6. Fraud, 5. Disorderly person, 2. Burglary, 1. Harassment, 3. Attempted burglary, 1. And simple assault, 1. And that concludes the report from the Fanwood Police Department for the month of January 2018. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right now, it's my report from Public Works and other things that I have to go to. So I'll start with Public Works. We still provide a recycling center operation for the first Saturday of each month, so our Public Works staff actually provides that each month. So a good way to find out what we do is if you haven't already, download the recycling app and you will know exactly what you can do and where, and that's a great way to find out what's going on. In fact, this Wednesday night is a night to put out your recycling, I believe. So please feel free to do that this Saturday night, because I know I will be. I know this has been an unusual winter, and in fact, we just had snow this Saturday, this past weekend, and luckily we made sure that it disappeared very quickly.
No snow.
That was all part of what we do here at council. When we do have snow, we make sure it disappears quickly. You're welcome. Public Works finished their winter brush and holiday pickup in all quadrants. They all other things that they do that you're probably not aware of, they also help out with our park buildings, and they replace broken sections of flooring in Forest Road Park. They even remove some fallen trees at the Nature Center to make sure that you can walk through there, because the goats cleaned up a lot of that. And this is the part that Russ, Councilman Ugal, loves the most. We performed, our Public Works staff, not we, our Public Works staff performed winter pothole repairs on many streets. Yes, pothole repairs, Councilman, on many streets, including, but not limited to, Hetfield, which since it's only half of our town, I hope I hope it's on the Fanwood side. Because if it was on the other side, we need to talk to them.
They need a little help.
If you don't know that, that is the border between us and Scotch Plains, and we don't allow them to cross over into Scotch Plains. Sheelan's Crossing, Ashworth Court, there will be a test afterwards for all in council where Ashworth Court is. Does anyone know?
It's
Okay, good,
it's right behind
Forest Road, so those on Ashworth Court, I'm sure are very appreciative. Forest Road between Tillotson and Midway, Tillotson and Glenwood Road. Our fire department had 36 calls during the month of January. They had 2 drills and no injuries. There was 1 house fire on Midway, which they were able to handle with Scotch Plains being called in for mutual aid. And I wasn't able to attend the planning board meeting in January, but we do have a planning board meeting next Wednesday. And that is the end of my report for Public Works and other miscellaneous assignments. With that, I'll turn it over to Councilman Ugal for Land Use and Historic Preservation.
Thank you, Council President. So I attended the Historic Preservation meeting On February 1st, they held an election of officers. Adam Coy is the chair, Jason Benedict is the vice chair, Joe Nagy is our historian, of course, and I was voted most likely to succeed. The next time the museum is open is on March 4th. So Fanwood Museum open March 4th, hours 2 to 4 o'clock. They've started working with our library to curate the museum and get some assistance there. They're also working with their counterparts in Plainfield to mark the pathway of the old railroad. So I believe that's on Midway Avenue. So there's going to be eventually there'll be markings of the railway the way it used to be, and you history buffs can go check that out. What else here? That's of note. Somebody donated a 1970 copy of the 75th anniversary of Fanwood, little pamphlet, I believe. I asked them to give it to me so I could bring it here tonight, and they wouldn't trust me with it. So if you want to go see it, you have to go to the Fanwood Museum. So please do that. Exactly. I'm just trying to, it's all about the foot traffic.
I know.
So the other thing that I did this past month, I attended Career Day at Park Middle School, where I discussed archaeology. And so for those of you who are not...
Did they teach you, or did you teach them?
No, I did them. They didn't say it had to be my career. They just said a career.
my
So, you guys.
Wow.
And then the other thing was Groundhog Day. I sent the little guy on a vacation. So that's why we're going to have 70 degrees tomorrow. So you're welcome.
I heard we had 6 more weeks of winter.
No winter.
Depends on which groundhog you listen to.
He went on a
listened to my
vacation.
son's groundhog.
70
You
degrees
didn't
tomorrow.
listen to Frank the Fanwood groundhog.
Right.
Guess not. No.
So
He was
didn't-
off with you on an island somewhere.
Frank and Russ are,
yep. We're
Buddies.
tight.
Their pals?
yeah.
Okay.
So that's my report.
Thank you, Councilman. But next is Councilwoman McElroy Barker with Rec and Community Services.
All right, I'll try not to be quite so funny. So Rec met on January 23rd. There was another discussion of dogs in the parks. This is the third meeting actually in a row where this is getting addressed, mostly because residents are hearing about it and then coming to talk about it. And there are definitely two minds on this issue. But I think this is going to get discussed in a bigger way. The commission still hasn't decided what they want to do. But we did look at other towns, and it appears with the help of Eleanor that most other towns, without actually an ordinance, do allow dogs in parks in and around Union County. For the most part. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I guess we'll have to
Bridge
see.
the divide.
Listen, I'm a dog lover, so I'm trying to be neutral here.
You got a dog in the fight.
Yeah. And so that took up a lot of time. I was supposed to be better. Stop. And the good news, actually, was Community Pass took in $15,000 more in 2017 than in 2016, and Bob Budiansky credits most of that to the usefulness of improved technology in terms of helping people register for programs, especially summer programs and the spring and fall programs, the senior programs. Everything can be registered for online. So, check out the Fanwood Rec website. It's pretty easy to register for programs online now, and I think that will continue to get easier as time goes by. And then the only other thing is that March 24th is the Easter egg hunt that's always held in Forest Road Park. It usually steps off at 10 a.m., but don't quote me on that yet.
Over at 10:01.
And it starts exactly at 10, and it's over at 10 and 30 seconds. So don't be late, or your children will cry.
Wow.
And that's just a fact. It's almost happened to me before, so it really is over
Oh,
fast.
you didn't get any eggs?
No, I always made it on time. This is the one thing I am on time for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's it. Nothing else.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Next, Councilwoman Mitchell for Health and Senior Citizens.
Thank you. Our poetry series has resumed tonight. It's over at the Carriage House. Usually I give you a little bit more warning because our meetings are usually on Monday, but because of the holiday, we're meeting on Tuesday. So you have no advance notice. However, I would like to tell you that they are running a poetry contest in conjunction with the Shade Tree Commission. They usually do this like every other year. And people from actually all over the country and some out of the country submit poems, and then they are judged, and finally, after, I think the last time they did it, there were over 800 poems submitted. So after reading all of those, they chose one poem, and that person is given a monetary prize. So of course it has to be, the poem somewhere has to incorporate something about trees. They also will be celebrating their 20th anniversary this year, so they have plans to have some type of celebration in the fall, so I'll keep you posted on that. The Shade Tree Commission will not meet until the end of the month, but their first meeting of the year was basically just reorganization and planning of events for this year, one of which will be Arbor Day, which is usually the last Friday in April. Shared services, I don't usually talk too much about that, and many of you may not be aware that we are in a shared service with the Board of Ed, Scotch Plains, and Fanwood. I know you're probably aware of the shared services we have with Garwood and Scotch Plains with for DPW, but this committee probably 2 years ago was studying whether or not to rehab the field at Terrell Middle School, because apparently they were in pretty bad shape. So an engineering study was done. We also applied to the county for monies, but we didn't get as much money as and we thought we would. So that project for the moment is on hold. Another thing that's being considered in that is that the Parker Brothers property has been sold, which is right adjacent to Carroll Middle School. They are putting in some ungodly number of apartments, condos, whatever you want to call them there. They don't know, of course, what impact this will have on the school system, so they decided to hold that in abeyance, at least for now, because they don't know down the road if they are going to have to enlarge the school. But in that, the town of Scotch Plains got 2.5 acres of that property. So when the time comes down the road, who knows whether they will be able to enlarge the fields even more so. So that is on hold for the moment.
Why is the Terrell Fields on hold?
Pardon?
Why are the Terrell Fields on hold?
Because it cost too much money for one thing, and because we didn't get as much money as we thought we would from the county.
Ah.
So this is a Union County not giving us enough money that we've sent them.
Correct.
Well, as you know, we send approximately $6 million to Union County. Not sure what we're getting in return for it, but...
And of course, the other
Now,
factor with
continue
the
with your
property.
report.
I am, thank you very much.
Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay.
Sorry.
And of course, the other part is the sale of the property and the amount of condos that will be going in there. Let me see.
But that's not on the school property, the condos.
No.
No, it's on the Parker property,
Right.
which is right adjacent to
Okay,
the school.
okay.
The rescue squad report. First of all, I have it on good knowledge that the new ambulance is probably arriving on Friday, which will be a nice thing for the rescue squad. Is that correct, Tom?
I'm told by Friday, yeah.
Oh, okay. And I also have a rescue squad report. They answered 75 calls in January. 14 sick calls, 13 cardiac or respiratory, 13 falls, 2 fire rehabs. Most of the people were taken to Overlook, 31. The rest were dispersed among JFK, Morristown, St. Barnabas, Trinitas, and Robert Wood in New Brunswick and Rahway. There were only, they had to cancel 10 because they didn't have an insufficient crew. And I am told that part of that is because they don't have drivers, and you are teaching some people how to drive the ambulance?
Mm-hmm. It's ongoing.
Right, right. So hopefully we will be able to eliminate that problem during the day. They needed to use oxygen 13 times. Wow. They gave mutual aid to Scotch Plains 13, Plainfield 3, and Avenel 1. I don't know how that happened. And congratulations to Madison Lawson. She completed and passed her EMT exam. So we are glad to have her aboard. And before this council meeting, the PAL, why don't you explain, Tom?
Yeah, before this meeting, the Scotch Plains Fanwood Police Athletic League presented a check for $1,000 to the Fanwood Rescue Squad. The Fanwood Rescue Squad and the Scotch Plains Squad this past year provided standby service at the PAL football games. That was a first. They haven't done that before. And the coaches, I think, were very grateful to have some kind of medical authority there on the fields during the high school football games. The squads are there, but for many moons, those kids are out there playing football, and there's basically, as one gentleman told me, the coaches become surgeons. I don't know if I want to entertain that any further than that, but having the squads there is a huge relief and gives them a huge sense of comfort. And there were some minor issues there, but the PAL guys came here, and they're at the Scotch Plains meeting now, and the squad really appreciated the $1,000 contribution.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, let me see what else. The seniors met. They had their annual pizza party at the last meeting, and they will be going to. They will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day by going on a field trip to Staten Island, someplace at an Irish place where they'll be eating Irish food and being entertained by Irish entertainers. So they are looking forward to that. And the library, I have no report. They're, other than routine library business, they're kind of at a standstill. They are still waiting for the application to apply for the monies to hopefully advance our library project, which is right at the moment on hold. If you've been following this council meeting for the last 2 or 3 years now, you know that our library, there have been all kinds of things. We know it needs a lot of attention structurally, the roof and the HVAC and all that sort of thing. So depending on the money we get, will depend on how much money we get, if we get money, and how much we can do there. So that at the moment, until they get the application to apply for these funds, they are just conducting regular library business. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. There was I forgot to report on a couple of engineering items. Running the meeting and giving my reports is not as easy as it seems. So I forgot a couple things from our engineer, which for people living along North Avenue and people that drive along North Avenue, we've decided to have it sort of an obstacle course this year. Not on purpose, but our utility companies have decided to give that to us. So with that, that work is finishing up, and we will be having North being paved during the spring of this year. So it'll be a little bit smoother and won't be an obstacle course any further along
Spring
North.
now.
It's not spring yet. March 21st is the beginning of spring.
Just because the Yankees showed up in spring training does not mean it's really spring.
Yes.
Still in Florida.
Stole my thunder.
Yes.
I have been driving down.
Okay, we're moving along.
Side.
We don't want to hear that you're driving on the opposite side of the road, Councilwoman Mitchell.
I have been, otherwise my car would be wrecked.
The second thing, Madison Avenue is a project that this council and the neighborhood has been working on for a number of years now, and we will be going to construction also during the spring of 2018 to reconstruct Madison Avenue and build a sidewalk along Madison Avenue for pedestrian safety for both the elementary and middle school. And last, 2 more things. Patterson will also be, we're getting money from the state through local aid funding to reconstruct Patterson between Terrell and Martine, I believe. Correct me if, no, yes? Terrell and Martine. And last but not least, there are a lot of large roads in Fanwood, but there are a couple of small roads in Fanwood. So this year, in order to finally address 2 of our smaller roads, we put in money into DOT, to local aid, to fund Stewart and Ginder.
Oh, I had the winners in the envelope. I thought you wanted to open it up.
No. This is not the Oscars, but thank you for playing along. So Stewart and Ginder are both very, very small streets in Fanwood, but both need attention, and both have, residents have been asking for us to focus on these streets. So both of those streets we put in for local aid because we think it's important to address streets that we haven't really reconstructed in probably ever. So both of those we are putting in for local aid, so the residents of those streets, we hear you, and we'll be coming with public meetings eventually, and paying attention to those streets as well. And Poplar was finished out last year, and that's now completely repaved with curbing, and so that one was done. That's all on the construction projects or from our engineer. So with that, I don't believe we have any special committee reports on our agenda, so I'll go right to Councilman Krantz for a presentation of claims.
Payment of claims, be it resolved that claims in the amount of $2,099,190.75, having been listed on the bill list and recorded in the files of the Borough Hall and approved by the chairman of the appropriate committee, be paid.
Is that, you moved that?
Yes.
I need a second.
Second.
Roll call?
Yes. Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Anthony Carter?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes.
Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 10, what is that, Eleanor? Auditing of claims.
We don't have any.
Okay. So at this moment, we will open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. I'll accept a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We now are open to public for agenda items only. If you want to come on down, please feel free to walk up to the microphone. Seeing no one in the large audience standing up to walk down, I will accept a motion to close the meeting to the public for now, and we will open again at the end of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have no old business, so the consent agenda is mine, so I will move resolution 18, 33, 34, 35, 45, 46, and 47. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's the consent agenda. We'll now go on to new business. Councilman Krantz.
I move Resolution 180236. This authorizes the refund of a duplicate tax payment to the folks at 194 North Martin Avenue.
Second. Second.
Roll call?
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes to return the money.
Anthony
Affirmative.
Carter? Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 180237. This authorizes transfers from the 2017 budget to pay our bills.
Second.
Roll call?
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes.
Anthony Carter?
Yes.
Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 180238, authorizing a temporary emergency appropriation again to pay our bills.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Yes. Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes.
Anthony Carter?
Yes.
Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next two resolutions are to pay attorneys who do service to the borough. I move Resolution 180239, authorizing an amendment to Rogut McCarthy's 2017 contract.
Second.
Roll call?
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes.
Anthony Carter?
Yes.
Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 180240, which authorizes an amendment to Roth Daquani, is how we said that name?
Yeah.
To Roth Daquani's 2017 contract for additional services rendered.
Second.
Roll call?
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Wesley Hugo?
Yes.
Anthony Carter?
Yes.
Erin McElroy-Barker?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I move Resolution 180241, which authorizes an extension of the contract with the attorneys Skarinsky, Hollenbeck, John Scagnelli. This is the group that is representing a number of municipalities in keeping track of and fighting the Pilgrim Pipeline. This is our portion of that contract.
Excuse me, there's a report in your packet tonight, if you want to take a look at.
Okay,
That
great.
he made up.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tom Krantz,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Anthony Carter.
Yes.
Russell Yugo.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker.
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And finally, I move Resolution 180248, approving the cancellation of emergency appropriations in the temporary budget.
Need a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Tom Krantz,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell.
Yes.
Anthony Carter.
Yes.
Russell Yugo.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker.
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Councilman. I turn it over to Councilman Carter for 2 resolutions.
Okay. I move Resolution 18-02-42 to authorize payment to LoSAP qualifiers Rescue Squad.
Second. No fire department?
No, they didn't give it to me yet.
Okay.
Has
Next-
not been
next one.
received.
Councilman, does, Krantz, do you need to, can you vote on this?
No, I need to abstain from this vote.
Okay, let me, record show that Councilman Krantz will be abstaining from this vote. Roll call.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Russell Yugo.
Yes.
Tom Krantz,
Abstain.
Erin McElroy Barker.
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour.
Yes. Next.
Next, I move Resolution 18-02-43 for an in-grade promotion to Daniel Picola, Patrolman, E1 for 2018.
Very nice.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Anthony Carter,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Russell Yugo.
Yes.
Tom Krantz.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker.
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Now it's to me. I move Resolution 180244. This is award a contract for landscaping services.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jack Mullenhour,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Anthony Carter.
Yes.
Russell Yugo.
Yes.
Tom Krantz.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'll accept a motion to open the meeting to the public for any questions or comments on any reason.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public now could approach us and ask us any questions or about anything. We'll make up answers if we don't know it.
Okay.
Seeing no one approaching the microphone, I'll accept a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this point, we're on to mayor and council comments, so I will move to my left, to your right, and go to Councilman Ugel to start us off for your council comments.
Thank you, Council President. Got one lighthearted comment, one serious one. So the lighthearted comment is baseball's back, Kathy.
I know.
We're there. That's
Is
right.
that the serious?
No, that's a lighthearted
Oh,
comment.
okay.
So you and I, we're back in business.
Let's go, Mets.
All right. So serious comment was, I got this in the packet, the election dates that we get every year from the Board of Elections, from our clerk, Joanne Rajapi. It was very nice to send this to us. So my serious comment is, if you are 17 years old, you could register to vote if your 18th birthday will occur before Election Day. So I just want to put that out there for 17-year-olds out there, that you should register to vote. I'm encouraging you to register to vote. If your birthday occurs before Election Day, you will be able to vote this year in our elections. So take that under advisement.
Thank
That's
you.
all I got. And have a nice evening. I'll see you next month during summer.
It's tomorrow.
Well, it's spring. Since it's spring, next month will be summer.
I just have one thing. I have been thinking since the beginning of the year about my promise to try to get our community to do more together for one another and for those who are less fortunate. And I would love to hear from anyone who has ideas or volunteer groups they're involved with, or ways to help connect people to volunteers. I'm starting to think about how to develop this. So I think my email's on our website, and I promise to check it. So if you have any ideas, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell.
I was going to speak about what happened in Florida, and I have changed my mind about it. I am so disgusted with I guess I'm going to talk about it.
Is this you not talking
I'm
about
kind
it?
of really
These are your
disgusted
comments.
with
Sounds like you're talking about it.
our legislators who don't even want to begin to talk about the problem. They say it's not time. It's a mental health issue, and I agree that that's part of the problem. So what do? They cut money from the budget for mental health treatment. Doesn't make sense to me. I think the majority of our legislators are spineless cowards. I don't know if you saw the news tonight. I only caught part of it, so don't quote me on this specifically. But I think you know that there were a group of students from Florida. They had rented 3 buses and were going up to speak to the Florida legislature in Tallahassee. And rather than facing the students, apparently they had an issue that they were going to discuss regarding gun control, and they tabled it, or they decided not to bring it up. So there are many issues to this problem, but not talking about it is not helping to solve it. I had hoped that maybe our state and obviously national leaders would give a little credence to the students who are specifically affected in Florida, give them a lot more consideration, and hearing that from students, maybe they would act in some sort of way. They certainly didn't act on the issue when babies were killed in Connecticut, and when 2 of their own people in Congress were shot, they did nothing. So I don't know what it takes to make them consider this issue. I think we have a prime example of the fact that money talks, and that our legislators are much more interested in money for their reelection than they are for their constituents. And I guess I talked about it, and now I feel better.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Carter?
Certainly. So many of you may know already that in our Union County Democratic Party, Chairman Jerry Green resigned, and our mayor, illustrious Mayor Colleen Marr, has served as the vice chair for the Union County Democratic Party for the last 5 years, I believe, and has served with esteem. She's very knowledgeable, and I could go on and on about her credentials. But we're asking, and I'm asking personally, all of our voting committee members to come out and cast your vote for the candidate that you feel most worthy. Of course, we're saying, and I'm saying that that's our Colleen Marr. And it's going to happen. The voting convention is actually tomorrow night, if you don't know already, at the Grand Centurions at 6:00 p.m. I'll be there, and we look forward to seeing all of you there to support our illustrious Mayor Colleen Marr. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman. In 1999, I was working at CBS when Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris shot up Columbine High School. And that seems like such a long time ago. And it was a long time ago. And I remember just the incredible horror. And we saw a video of those guys in the cafeteria. And after that, I said, wow, there is no way that's ever going to happen again. And then it was followed by several other school shootings. And, you know, everybody here knows the history. And then last week, I think the thing that was different about the shooting down in Florida was that those kids, the surviving kids, are basically doing a lot of the talking that adults in charge should have been doing for a long time and should be doing now. That morning, I communicated with our police chief and with the Scotch Plains police chief, and I said, you know, everybody who goes to any public school anywhere now is asking the same questions. You know, are we safe? Are our kids safe? And I was reassured by both chiefs that there are things they're doing that are both visible and not visible to the public, that they're doing their absolute best to make sure that our kids are safe in school. Having said that, I just want to, I don't want to speak for anybody else here, but I'll speak for myself. I am totally with those kids who travel to Florida today, the ones who are going to walk out in solidarity later in March. If it really takes the kids who are being attacked to be the ones to speak up and say, do something, then I think that's kind of sad, actually. So I urge everybody to look at all the issues involved here. New gun laws, the holes in the system that let this young man buy a gun in the first place, the mental health system, the intersection of the mental health system and the law enforcement system, which somehow has to happen earlier in time than it is now. But now is definitely the time when we have some momentum, and I just hope that we can move forward and get some stuff done here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. There's a couple things regarding this. What comes up to me about this shooting is that because we don't expect anything to happen with gun control, we now are expecting to harden our school systems. And I'm just trying to figure out where does this end? Do we start outfitting every school children with bulletproof vests? We're talking about guards and at every school with guns. Other industrialized countries have figured this out, yet instead of actually figuring it out, we're talking about militarizing our schools and created it more like a prison, which to say that people supposedly that have common sense are saying this out loud, and we take this as reasonable solutions to put more guards with guns at school entrances, to me is just crazy. And I think East Brunswick in New Jersey is going that way. And I hope we don't go that way in Scotch Plains Fanwood. I don't have children in the school system, but I really hope we don't go that way, because I think that is just going down a rabbit hole that we can't escape from. But that's just my personal opinion on the hardening of our schools. I know it's a fine line, but I know we're doing that because we know that no one else will make the right decisions above us, and we feel we have no choice. But I think that's a bad rabbit hole to go down. The other thing that with our new governor has proposed and has campaigned on legalizing marijuana. I personally am in favor of that. There are other states that have done that. There are some legislators in Trenton that feel that we should legalize the amount that you can have, but not legalize purchasing it. I'm not really sure logically how that works, that you can have it, but you can't legally purchase it.
Well, maybe if you just find it on the street, then.
Right, it must just appear there. So I'm hoping that Trenton does not, I believe that legislation is cutting the baby in half, which is really not a solution at all. It sounds good until you actually go through the logic of it. So there's a lot of good things that are coming out of a new administration, and I hope we find a way to work through all these items. But with that, the good news, what I heard today on Facebook, is that the second annual Fan Jam date was announced, which I believe is Sunday, July 8th. It's already on my calendar. I went last year, and wow, what a great time, great bands. So if it's not on your calendar, put it on your calendar now. So that's what I'm looking forward to right now, is the second annual Fan Jam, and I believe it's going to be a blowout.
That'll be fall by that
It's
time.
gonna be.
It'll be fall. Sunday, yeah, based on your timeline, that would be fall.
Spring now.
So with that.
Jack, can I
Yes.
just add one thing? Since
Yes.
you mentioned, and I'm sorry I meant to mention this, but for any parents or families who are interested in talking with the Board of Ed about what plans they have or what concerns they have about the security of the school district. I know there's been a lot of discussion on Facebook. They do meet twice a month. Their next meeting this month, the televised meeting, will be this Thursday, February 22nd, and the public portion of the meeting begins at 8 o'clock. It is an agenda meeting similar to ours, but there are also, I think, 2 opportunities for the public to speak and ask questions, and I believe the meeting last week did get some attendance from residents of both Scotch Plains and Fanwood. So I will be there, and I certainly welcome anybody with concerns about our own school system should attend and feel free to speak.
With that, I believe we have one matter for executive session. Is that correct, Eleanor?
That's correct.
Yes. So I'll accept a motion to adjourn, to go into executive session to talk about a matter relating to negotiations and only to adjourn, to come out of that to adjourn. Is that correct? Yeah. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you.